Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. What a 3 days of action we had at the Cheltenham November meeting, a personal favourite meeting of mine. And we're looking at that in the rearview mirror as we look ahead to two equally brilliant courses this weekend in Ascot and Haydock. The first Grade 1 in Britain with the Betfair Chase over at Haydock. Grade 2 action over at Ascot as well. Fantastic handicaps. And of course, how can I not mention the Grade 1 action over in Ireland in Punchestown, John Durkan, and of course the Morgiana. Harry, brilliant weekend coming up. How was last weekend though? Did you enjoy yourself watching Cheltenham?
It's class, isn't it? Managed to find a few winners, which is always good. And a few standout performances, the likes of Stage Star. Ginny's Destiny on the Sunday, I was really impressed by the way that horse came up the hill. He looks a very, much improved horse from his first run of the season, and he's going to get better and better for Paul Nicholls, I believe. Moving on to this weekend, as you have mentioned, racing stops for no man, and obviously we've got the likes of Haydock, Ascot, and Punchestown. We've got the Punchestown Gold Cup basically returning. We've obviously got Fast or Slow versus Galopin Des Champs, the return and the rematch. Right now, we'll get back onto it, but you'd have to side with the favourite, wouldn't you, at the minute? And obviously, we've got the Grade 2, but we've got two Grade 1 winners in there. So it's Grade 2 in name, but it's a Grade 1 in reality. So I'm buzzing for it, mate.
Oh, it should be fantastic. I was at the Newbury Gallops this morning. Quick update on a couple of horses. The one for me that I haven't mentioned or anything like that, I don't think anyone else has mentioned. Chantry House probably staying over hurdles, which I like quite a lot. Maybe they're definitely going to run over hurdles next time out. I'd say potentially they could be planning a season with him over hurdles. If he rocks him in a Thames, my word, that would be something special. Anything else? Hermes Allen going to the John Frankham at the Coral Gold Cup meeting, really nice piece of work. And Jericho de Repene was a nice horse for Hendo, the big talking horse on Twitter. I know Icy mentioned it on our Sunday show space of a horse to follow, and he looked to be quite nice. He put a good bit of distance between himself and Dusart. It was a bit two different types of work. Dusart wasn't really being pushed out, but Jericho de Repene was. But yeah, I thought he was quite smart at the Gallops morning. But we'll press on, and all of our eye catchers, all of our sort of look aheads to anti-post wise, they're covered in the Sunday show, which you can still listen to. So make sure to go check that out. We did it with Emma Nagel of irishracing.com. So do check that out on our Twitter page. But we'll kick on, Harry, into this week's action. Fantastic action, of course. We're starting with a handicap. The Betfair serial winners stayers handicap hurdle. And this has plenty of intrigue about it because obviously the favourite in it is a horse who's been planned out for a while for the race. It's Crambo for Fergal O'Brien. Now, I remember going down to his yard at the start of the season and they said, we have a two-step plan with this horse. We'll win once and then we'll go to that race. And they've won and they're heading to this race. 3-1 for him. Connor Brace in the saddle. Slate Lane, 3-1. Emmett Mullins, Lord Snooty, Christian Williams, Jack Tudor, 11-1. It's the horse that's probably seen the early money in each way price. Bold Endeavour 14s, Dubrovnik Harry, bit of an eye catcher in the Thames qualifier at Cheltenham in October at 14s as well. Harry, throw it over to you. I think we both have plenty of respect for Crambo, 3-1. Small bit of worry if he's going to the Coral Hurdle or not. So we might be having a couple of darts, something each way priced.
Yeah, I think it is. I think 3-1 is a little bit skinny. I wouldn't be diving into that price, especially when you've got the likes of Slate Lane in there. I mean, the name is in the race, isn't it? Serial winners. Well, he is a serial winner because he's won 3 on the bounce and he's won them in romps pretty much, hasn't he? He was subject to a monster gamble by Harry Finlay, who was there's a cracking interview on at the races. But I'm not siding with the top two today. I am going to go with Emiton. Now, Lee always gives me a bollocking saying don't back the old boys, but listen, the
old enough to smoke, I think. Old enough to smoke.
Well, if a 9-year-old is smoking, Ash, we're in some serious bother. But no, Emiton has changed stables. He was with Warren Greater-X, but since he moved to Alan King, he beat a horse called Highland at Newbury on his first seasonal reappearance. That's a lie. It was first appearance for the yard in March. He beat Highland. And then a seasonal reappearance, he came second to a well-handicapped horse of Harry Demner. Now, how often do we hear that? Harry Durham has a well-handicapped horse. Now he's a target trainer. He's very shrewd. I actually believe it was his first double or treble. I'm not too sure.
It was the first double of Newbury's National Hunt season, which was won by Harry Durham. He won with Brentford Hope and then won with that horse. His first time out horse this season have been absolutely on fire.
Yeah, listen, he's very much a trainer to look forward to, and when he gets the firepower, well, he's got the firepower as it is now. But when he gets even more, he will be a serious threat. But going back to Emitom, now this horse has shown very little the last few years since his fourth in the Stayers Hurdle. Me and Ash, we were laughing, weren't we, about the Stayers Hurdle in 2020. It was probably the worst renewal we've ever seen in our lives. Like, listen to Oscar, no offence to Rebecca Curtis, like that horse should not be winning a Stayers Hurdle, and it was an awful race. However, he was fourth. He's won around this course and distance. That was on heavy ground, so he won't mind any sort of ground. Obviously, the easing conditions, we've got no rain really due at Haydock, so he should be fine on the ground. Like I said, he was second to Young Butler. He stayed on the same mark, and you need a well-handicapped stayer to win this race. He's got the back form in the book. Obviously, the Stayers Hurdle in 2020, as I've already mentioned, and at 14-1, I think for a horse in form, and an Alan King, who is also in some decent form. He's had 4 winners in the last 4 nights. He's a decent each way price, I'd say. So yeah, that's one for me. Emitom with Tom Cannon aboard.
Yeah, no, I like the play there. Could be well handicapped on old form. For me, look, Crambo could very much go and win this nicely. I thought his run last time out, Conor Brace did a fantastic job of not winning by too far, and the handicap has only been able to give him £6 for the run because that's all he's really played his hand to, which is just brilliant from Conor and from connections. And look at his first time out as well, he'll come on for the run, and this has always been the target. I really respect Crambo at the top of the market, like he will be in any bets I have on the race. But the one at each way price that I thought could be slightly overpriced is Hugo's New Horse of Paul Nicholls, Freddie Jingle. Taking off 5, went for some French pronunciation there. That was poor from me. Look, I think Hugo's New Horse could be quite smart. Paul's always rated him fairly highly, and he's off a mark of 132. He's race fit. He was disappointing, but quite far down the field in that Cheltenham Thames qualifier that Highland won in October. Travelled nicely. He was up in the van for a while, but he just blew up at the top of the hill and was always off the bridle for a while. He was well back that day as well, so that was a bit surprising. But one thing I'm noticing on Nicholls horses this season is if they're not being properly targeted for one first time out, they are needing their runs. They are really needing their first time out runs. Whether that's that's happened in many seasons before, but whether that's a change of tack this season where he's having more horses as part of his Fat Boys Club that will come on for it, could potentially be that. But he's had his run. He's got 28 days break. That should put him set for a race like this. He won his final start of the season over 2 mile 4, beating Persian Time for the McNeil family. Again, the McNeil family seem to think that Persian Time is a very nice horse. I was actually sat on a panel with both Max McNeil and Ella McNeil, and Max said that they fancied Persian Time to go and win, and they were pretty surprised that he didn't in that race at Ayr in late April. So to be winning that from where he was actually position-wise, he used plenty of stamina to get by Persian Time. I thought he was very good. He was third to Crambo in the EBF final at Sandown, no, sorry, not in the EBF final. Sorry, it was in the novices handicap. No, it was the EBF final. I am correct. So I've uncorrected myself and corrected myself. His third to Crambo at Sandown on bottomless ground. Gave £7 to Crambo that day. He'll be in receipt of £6. Sorry, £7 this time. £7 this time round. Recorrecting myself.
You're having a night tonight.
Honestly, absolute nightmare. I just can't do maths for some reason. No, look, he's a big galloper, which you need for a test like Haydock, 3 miles, probably soft ground. Same goes for Crambo, really. They sort of fit the bill nicely. And it's his second start, 3 miles, unexposed at the trip. Hugo's New Horse at 14-1. I'll take a stab at him. So there's our selections for the first race rolling across the screen there at the bottom. Harry, we will move on though to the big race of the weekend. And obviously we were surprised when we heard that Brave Man's Game was going to be an intended runner for the Grade 1 Betfair Chase at 3 o'clock on Saturday. As long as they don't get too much rain at Haydock, which we've had a glance over the forecast. Doesn't look like they will. He's 11-8 topping the market. Daryl Jacob, the intended jockey. Protector at the season-long target for this race, for this horse who won the race last year. Same price, 11-8. Royal Pagai 7s, Korak Rambler 8, Shishkin 16s. He is an intended runner for the 1965 chase. Same could be said for Manila Drama at 50-1. So this race could cut up. It could very much cut up. Potentially only 4 runners who will go, even could be 3 runners. Harry, looks to be between the top 2. Who do you fancy?
Listen, weirdly enough, I actually did mention to my friends, I said, Correct Rambler's 14-1. This was last week. You could get 3 places, and he was 14-1. Now, get the shrewd hammers out. There's 6 runners now. Shishkin won't go. Manila Drama isn't good enough. And Raw Pagai won't go if the ground's not bottomless. So that's a 3-runner affair. He's only got to get round, literally, effectively. But Correct Rambler was a decent price. 8-1, that's skinny. It's his first step up into Grade 1 company. The Grade 1 action comes thick and fast because 25 minutes beforehand, we'll have the Morgiana, which we'll get on to. So stay tuned because they will come thick and fast on Saturday. But Brainman's Game, obviously, he's been the talking horse, hasn't he? And it could be a brilliant publicity stunt for Paul Nicholls if he just decides, nah, I'm not going to declare him. The ground, as we've mentioned, is going to be easing. So he should relish it. He's obviously a course winner. He was superb. Was it the graduation chase that he won?
I'm gonna trust your knowledge on this, Harry. I'm gonna go with yes.
I think he did. I think he beat the likes of Itchy Feet and.
Oh yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah, you are. Right.
Yeah, it was. Oh, bang on, Harry. Well done. Pat on the back. Daryl Jacob. Now, if you can't find it, so I've seen loads of stuff on Twitter and everything. Like, Daryl Jacob has won this race how many times for Bristol Demai? If you want a replacement jockey, he's just the ideal bloke, and he's riding really well at the minute. He's riding well for the Minear team, and 11-8 skinny. I can't see him being that price. Saying that if he does rock up, I think he'll be odds on. But Protectorat, I think at the prices now, he's second favourite. He's had a little bit of the limelight taken off him because of Braveman's Game. Dan Skelton has made this no secret that this is his target and he will be ready for his life. Albeit the Skeltons have been in a little bit patchy form, haven't they, compared to last season? I think this is the second worst season they've had for years, or second worst start to the season they've had in years. So I'd be willing to side with Protectorate given the fact how good he was last year. We had questions with the form. I wouldn't question the form because I thought he was so impressive. No horse would have lived with him that day. Aplutard was out of his comfort zone. He basically broke that horse. Simply, he was put out of the season for a long, long time. I'd probably say he's got 7 lengths or so to make up on Gold Cup form, but I think they'll be much closer this year. And Brave Man's Game, obviously, he ran well. He turned into a sprint in the Charlie Hall. That wouldn't suit him. I think if they go a good gallop, I think he'll suit Protectorate. And I can see him beat, but I think he'll be much closer to Brave Man's Game. And at the prices, I'll be siding with him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Look, it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other, really, isn't it? But I look and because I'm on the other side of the fence. I think Brave Man's Game is probably the most likely winner. He's race fit. I know Protectorate goes really well fresh and he'll be targeted for this race, so it sort of eradicates that. But just in case he is race fit, and I think there's a quote saying is Paul saying basically in the form that he's in, I have to run him. So which kind of suggests that he's in fantastic form at home, really.
You just said Uber. You should have gone to Newbury, get the freshness off him. Send him for a racecourse gallop. Get that freshness off him and don't send him to Haydock. But yeah, you can see Brave Man's Game. He is on official rating, isn't he? Actually, he's off levels and he should be winning. But it won't be like a big difference. I could see those two jumping the last together, couldn't you?
Yeah, potentially, but I know you said that nothing was going to beat Protectorate last year, but at the end of the day, he's only beaten he's beaten Eldorado Allen, Bristol Demai, Frodon, and Aplutar was pulled up. He's beaten Eldorado Allen by 11 lengths. I don't know. I think Brave Man's Game's form of finishing second to Gentleman's Game and third in the Punchtown Gold Cup and second in the Gold Cup and smashing Royal Pagai by 14 lengths is probably better. Now, I am saying that he only beat an Eldorado Allen by 3 lengths in the Charlie Hall first time out, and Protectorate's beaten him by 11. But I think it's different. It's first time out for Brave Man's Game. He comes on for his runs plenty. The Betfair Chase for Protectorate, it was very sticky ground, and Eldorado Allen probably just would have stopped at some point or just slowed down a little bit, and Protectorate would have kept going. But look, I'd side with Brave Man's Game. I just think he's a better horse, and I think he's got a better engine on him, and he jumps his fences so beautifully. He's a bit slow away from his fences, but I think every horse is going to be slow away from their fences at Haydock on Saturday. So I just side with him. It's not a betting race anti-post because Brave Man's Game can end up not being a runner, but yeah, that's where I would side with probably. And if they both turned up, I'd be shocked if I'm not with him by Saturday. Harry, we'll move on then to the Grade 2 1965 chase. We're going over to Ascot for this one. Again, another brilliant contest, but again, small in field size. Shishkin 4-5, confirmed by Nicky today. He's 99.9% sure he's going to go to this race. Pick Dorhey 7-4, obviously was the odds-on fav, but drifted out since the Shishkin news came in. Dashel Drasher coming back over fences potentially 8-1. Melodrama, that's his other entry, 16s. Thunder Rock 16s, though I'd be surprised if he comes here. He probably goes to the Peterborough Chase. And Strawfan Jack is chopped up with Sean Houlihan 33-1. Harry, I like Pick Door here. I'm a big fan of him, and I know Shishkin's going to be quite an immovable object at the top, and on ratings, Shishkin should be winning, but 2 mile 4 races on soft ground, or his MO. He did a big weight carrying performance to win first time out last season, beating Kisses for Katie, and then won a race after that. And he likes coming into races fresh. Shishkin could blow up. He's a bit lazy. And he could potentially just either come on for it or he could just not perform. And I'd be with Pick Dory at 7-4. Now tell me why I'm wrong.
Because I think you're mad. Listen, Shishkin is nat material. I mean, it's short, but this horse can't be beaten. He physically cannot. Dashel Drasher, his legs have gone. Well, not gone, obviously, but I think the old age is catching up with him, let's say. It was a little bit lackluster last time out. Manila Drama isn't good enough. This is, like we said, this is a Grade 1, effectively 2 Grade 1 winners running in a Grade 2. There's only 40 grand to the winner, and I can't see anything beating Shishkin. He's already beaten Pick Dory by 16 lengths, and that was over. It was over this course and distance, so on good to soft ground. So that logic is just like you physically can't be beaten. Now he's 2-2 at Ascot. The last time we obviously saw him was when he beat Pick Dory, but he used after an immense tussle with an Ergamine. He kind of lost his way, didn't he? He was disappointed at Cheltenham. They found the issue with him. He was disappointed. Then at Sandown, he was beaten 15 lengths. That was in the Tingle Creek, wasn't it? And then obviously he stepped up in trip, and he was superb. And I seriously do think he's a live contender in the Gold Cup. I really do. An each way price, I can't think of what price is now, 12, 14, something around that price. He stays all day. I didn't think anyone would stay at Hoy Senior from the position that he found himself in, 2 out, in fact, in the Aintree Bowl. And yet he stays and stays and stays and stays. So it was a very impressive performance. First time out, you can't really blame Nicky. This is an easier race. If Brave Man's Game, Protector out, and Shishkin rocked up in a Betfair Chase, it'd be good for the viewers. But whether it'd be good for the horses, I think they'd take a lot out of each other. But Pick Dory, he's got a lot to find on ratings compared to Shishkin. And if he can't win this, then I'd be very disappointed. Pick Dory, no doubt, has improved since he got tonked by Shishkin, but he's going to have to improve serious amounts to get anywhere near him. So 4-5 is short, but you can stick him in any acca because he will not be beaten. He will not be beaten.
I think you're right on Pick Dory's improved plenty. I think I was speaking to Johnny De La Haye, and he said that he went into his summer holidays off the back of a win. So he went into it as a strong horse, and he's come out of it looking like a monster. So I think Pick Dory, if he's improved that much, though, what's the difference in ratings? The difference is £11 in ratings. Like in an ideal world, if Shishkin underperforms by 4 and Pick Dory improves by 7, then you're sort of bang there kind of thing. So. Look, I give Pick Dory a shout, but
where do you go with him after this, then, Ash? Where would you go with
Pick Dory? You campaign him in those 2 mile 4 races that aren't Cheltenham, basically. Similar route, I'd say. You know, he probably goes to maybe goes to Silvaniaco Conti at Kempton, and then goes
to. Well, you could even fill in the Ascot Chase, can't you?
Yeah, come back for the Ascot Chase, end up in the Marsh. It's probably the same route, you know. Like he's not going to the Peterborough. Obviously, you know, like both horses in here come here carrying Grade 1 penalties, so and he'll do that any Grade 2 he goes to. But there's just the I'm trying to think off the top of my head, 2 mile 4, 2 mile 5 races Grade 1s, but there's none really I can think of anyway that aren't the Ryanair, so in Ireland. So I might have a search of that when you're next talking about your next horse,
Yeah,
which would be.
By the way, I think this could be a match. Like genuinely, like Dashel Drasher had a pretty tough race a few weeks ago in the Charlie. Well, Charlie.
No,
Holiday
he'll
was.
turn up. He'll turn up, and Straw Fan Jack will turn up.
Yeah, well,
I always concerned about that.
Jack, I think it might actually go to Newbury the following week.
Okay.
I heard an interview with Sheila Lewis was saying something about there's a race at Newbury for what's it called? The Peter Sullivan.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That race.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you go Thunder Rock. He's been on the drift. He'll probably go for the.
Peter Chase.
Is that the one at the Peterborough? And he's also got an entry in the not the Gold Cup, the Cheltenham race. Is it the Paddy?
Oh,
do you know what?
The handicap?
Yes, the one that Il Rigoto is fancy for.
Is it the December Gold Cup? Isn't it?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. So listen, this could cut up to be 2, maybe 3 runners. So,
yeah. So we'll see. By the way, if you hear voices from behind me, my housemates are playing a very intense game of FIFA right now. So we could be getting interrupted.
The youth of today, like we wouldn't do that because we are civilized adults now. We've moved on.
So mature. I'm literally going to go play with them after this recording. We'll move on then. Let's hurry this up. I want to play some FIFA. Coral, Hurdle, and Ascot. We'll move on to that race now. Another grade 2, but potentially one we can have a bit more of an opinion betting wise in. 205 at Ascot, 2 mile free and half a furlong. Goshen 2-1. Gary Moore, the absolute lovable Goshen. Fear to Glory coming here first time out. Nicky Ensign 3-1. So Royale on the back of a run behind Rude Board over at Kempton is 5-1. Alan King. Daryl Jacob is jocked up, but he looks like to be going to Haydock if Brave Man's Game goes. Blue King Daru 11-2. Cobden and Nickel strong leader 7-1. Mai Tai 14s, and you can have bigger about the rest, including Crambo, who could be turning up. Harry, what do you fancy in this?
Not Goshen. I think he's mad as a box of frogs. I couldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. It was a dog race last year. He beat Bruno Up a Storm, who has since not really done anything, as he'll be targeted for that Fontwell race. That'll be his one race a year. Uhtred was in third that day, like that. It was just a dog race, and this is a pretty deep race. I actually nailed it down to 2. Blue Kindaroo is my main selection for Cobden and Nichols. Obviously, Paul Nichols has made it no secret the fact that Harry's going obviously there for a few very good rides, and he obviously has rode this horse to success at Cheltenham at the October meeting. And obviously, when you mentioned that Paul's were all coming on for a run, this horse came on. I think this horse will come on leaps and bounds, and he wasn't even favourite that day. Like I think he drifted all the way out. From 7-4, 13-8, out to 5-2, and he's fairly bolted up. He beat a decent, well, not a solid yardstick of David Pipes, but Spirit Danu was in 4th that day. And that horse was well tipped to go and win, and he ran he ran a bit too free, but take nothing away from this winner. I think since his 2 disappointments at Cheltenham and Taunton, where they clearly found something wrong with him, he sprung a massive success at Ascot, beating Affadil by a few lengths at 50-1. He then finished 3 lengths behind Punctuation in the amateur rider race at Aintree. And obviously, you go through that form, and that form is pretty good. You've got the likes of JPR1 in 5th that day. Godante was in there. Knickerbocker Glory, You Can Tango. These are all decent horses in behind. And building on this seasonal reappearance at Cheltenham, I think he's a threat, even though he's a 4-year-old. Now, going on the other side of the spectrum, we've got the youngest of the field, and we've got the old boy, So Royal. I thought it was a decent run behind Rubord at Kempton on his seasonal reappearance. That horse has franked the form massively. He won the Elite Hurdle, was it? He won that in fairly convincing fashion. He just seems to always run his race, and it'd be no surprise if he picked up another big pot or ran well in another big pot, because he's been targeted in all the big races, and he always gives his running. So 2 against the field. Blue King Daru is my main selection at 11-2, and So Royal at 5-1.
Very good. I'll tell you a trainer who's in rude health at the moment. Is the big man, Nicky Henderson. He's in flying form. 12 winners from his last 38. As we record on Tuesday evening, his last 4 horses have won. Sorry, 6 of his last 7 runners have won. And the one that didn't was Lucia, who finished third behind stablemate Ibrico Lord in the Greatwood Hurdle. He is in absolutely red-hot form, and I think Fear to Glory is the one that's going to continue that for him this coming weekend. Like you've deciphered the field fairly well there, and the fact there's reasons to take on plenty of these, but I don't really see much of a case to take on Fear to Glory. She's a really progressive horse. She ran in the Jerry Fielden first time out last season. Hendo's had a massive record in doing this with his good mares before. He's doing it this year with Under Control, who seems to be, the form's being franked from that Sandown run, and he seems to think plenty of Under Control. Unseated rider at the fourth when sort of fairly well backed. I know he won stablemate First Street, but looked like she was going to go and run a decent race, or the betting suggested it. Well, anyway, went off 4-1. Then when it finished third to Grey Dawning, when Grey Dawning was just rated 1, 2, 3. So a seriously well handicapped Grey Dawning with Ball Bally in second. Now Ball Bally again is another horse who's gone on to improve over hurdles, even second to Creebilly. The horse who obviously fell at Cheltenham was second to that at Sandown in a handicap. So the form was working out well from that race. Then when bolstered up in a listed mares event at Warwick, was a good sixth in the mares. This is grade 1 form that Fear to Glory is on offer there. And I remember speaking to Hendo before in his Cheltenham Festival media day. So Fear to Glory, don't discount her. She's going to run a big race, and she ran a massive race at 50-1 in the mares. So that's good form. And then when it finished third to Nappers Hill and Goshen in the select hurdle, she was in receipt of £9 that day from Goshen. She's in the receipt of same amount of weight, but I think she's an improving horse. Whereas Goshen, you don't know which Goshen is going to roll out of the bed in the morning. So I think she can turn the tables, and at 3-1, of all these selections, she's probably my strongest one, I'd say. So, Fear to Glory for me, 3-1 in the Coral Hurdle. Final UK race, Harry, that we'll dive into. Oh, flash the selections there. Eagle eyes have got them. Jim Barry, Hurst Park, Handicap Chase at Ascot. Big Handicap Chase. It's a shame that in Excelsius Dio is not turning up. I think both me and Lee agree on that one. He was a horse that Lee quite fancied for this race, but Harry Fry has not sent him to this race. He's sent instead stablemate Boot Hill, who won nicely at Ascot last time out, beating First Flow 7-4. Sansegal in there for Jane Williams, had a nice run behind Boot Hill and will come on for it, 9-2. Corrigan Rock for Lucinda Russell, won nicely at Kempton last time out, 5-1. Fred Darms, 5-1. Orcan Risk, 10-1. Fernamble Civola, 11s. Triple Trade is in there as well for £5 penalty. So hasn't had time for the handicap to assess him. 12-1 for Dario Vallis, 14s. Triple Trade, very interesting there with the penalty. But what do you fancy in this race, Harry?
Listen, it's one of those races where you go through the card, and sometimes it pays to stick with the best horse in the race. And the best horse in the race by a mile is Boot Hill. He's 7-4. I think he'll have to carry a lump of weight and give a lump of weight away. But he jumped so well, and he was so effective over this course and distance last time out. The connections are obviously right to go for this. I think they had the choice of going for, I can't think of the life of me now. There was 2 races on the same day where they could have gone. There was a grade 2 or grade 3 that they could have gone, or they could have gone for this handicap last time out and get 56 grand. There's just no brainer. The horse is off 149. He's carried 11 stone 5, and he's beat the likes of Saint Segal, Frere Dams, who were all in behind by 4 lengths. He's absolutely bolted in. Again, he's got to carry 12 stone. He's got to get a £6 rise, but he's the best horse in the race by a mile. He should be up to winning this. And Saint Segal, I understand. I think you're gonna make a case. He'd be the danger because he seems to always come on for a run. He seems to run so freely when this horse just doesn't want to lead. So if David Noonan can keep a hold of that horse's head and get in behind, I think he'd be a danger. But for me, Boot Hill is the best horse in the race, and at 7-4, it's a little bit boring. I understand that, but if you want a winner, Boot Hill's your winner.
That's seamless from you. That is seamless. I am going to make a case for Sansegal here. Jane Williams' horse have been coming on massively for their runs this season. They really, really have, and they will continue to hopefully do so. Run a good race last time out in tactics that have never been seen before from Sansegal. Went from the front, tried to make all, looked like he was going to fade through the pack, and then he stayed on late. I think that's just showing that he's a bit unfit and that he just massively needs to run. Second run after a wind up as well. We know this. We know the stats for that one, and I think he's got a good chance here. Second run of the season. Yeah, I give him a good go. Like ground wise, he's probably going to be okay. Softer side of goods probably is benefit, I'd say. And I think he could run quite well at 9-2. But I will give a small shout to Malistic at 14-1. Beat Santiago on good ground at Doncaster in January. I was off mark 145, only £4 higher for that. Santiago was off 136 that day. Is off 136 again on the weekend. With a run under his belt to blow off the cobwebs, he could be quite interesting. But maybe the ground might be a touch too soft for him, but we'll see. So yeah, main one, Santiago for me, just think could be coming on for his run, and I think he could be at least £10 well handicapped in a race like this. But Boot Hill could just be too good. Harry, we'll fly over to Ireland. We won't take too long in these races, so we'll go for a sharp roundup of the Morgiana and the John Durkan. We'll start with the Morgiana. 2:35 on Saturday sees the return of State Man. Now we're all looking or hoping that State Man can turn into a very, very good horse this season. Not that he wasn't last season, but hopefully continue that. 10-3 on. Impere Pass 4-1 on his champion hurdle campaigning. Pied Piper 11-2, Echoes and Rain 6s, Astro Diamond 13-2, Irish Point 9-1. Harry, what do you fancy? Is it State Man? Are you going to keep it short and sweet?
Yeah, he's just the best horse in the race, isn't he, Ash? In Perry Pass, that horse, obviously, I doubt will go. Surely they can't take each other on. Paul Townend would have a very tricky decision to make. But State Man has established himself as the best 2-mile hurdler in Ireland. So why take him on? You go through the field, Irish Point, I think, needs a trip. 9-1's a big price. He'll be doing his best work late on. But I'd love to see him over a distance, like 3 miles or the Stayers Hurdle. It's such a weak division this year. If he rocked up in there, he'd be bang up into contention. Astro Diamond, a very good mare, but again, I don't think she's up to the likes of State Man, who's obviously the Irish champion. So he only succumbed to Constitution Hill. Let's not forget that he was 9 lengths back, and the camp have already said that wasn't the real State Man, and he proved that at Punchestown. He beat Forban by 3 lengths. He's 3-10 again. It's short. You wouldn't like to go diving into that price, but there'll be a few muggy going on Saturday. I can assure you that.
I don't know. Finishing 9 lengths behind Constitution Hill, that sounds like the real State Man to me, But
well, I think what they said was he give his running, but he wasn't his it wasn't. They don't think they saw him to his best light. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you take it on the bare fact of it, and he's still only finished 9 lengths behind him. He was best of the rest by a country mile. Not many horses can say they finished within 9 lengths of Constitution Hill anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll be a State Man as well. Look, I won't be having a bet, but I'll be a State Man. In fact, we know more about him, and we know he's a very, very good horse and probably would be a champion hurdle winner in any other year than Constitution Hill. Impere Pass could end up being better than him. There's obviously a reason they've kept him over hurdles. There's definitely a reason they've kept him over hurdles. And to go down that champion hurdle route when they've already got a ready-made champion hurdle in State Man, I'm almost convinced of that. So he could run an absolute massive race here. But look, I just think State Man, we know more about him.
Do you think they'll both go?
Huh?
Do you think they'll both go?
Well, whatever race is there to run in, they've got to start their season somewhere, and he's not going to go and give weight away in a handicap, or he's not going to go and I don't know, he's not going to run in a grade 2, is he? They're going to try and run in a grade 1, aren't they? Whit Mullins isn't afraid to do that.
When's the Hatton Grace?
Hatton's Grace, that's next weekend, is it, or the weekend after, or something like
that? I could just imagine him rocking up there instead. But well, listen, we'll see. But it's, again, you don't want to take on the season pro at times, do you?
No, and you just know more about him. So I'd say probably that the one. December 3rd is the Hatton's Grace. So
that's where he'll rock up. He'll rock up there.
Anyway, John Durkan. So we're both State Man. John Durkan. Again, similar situation. In fact, we have a short price favourite, Galopin Des Champs, 2-1 on. Fast or Slow, the horse that beat him last time out, and Brave Man's Game 9-2, Blue Lord 8, Appreciated 14s, Conflated 14s, Asterion Falange 16s, Statler 20, Farouk Dalan 33, and French Dynamite the same price at 33s. Are you a fan of Galopin Des Champs here, Harry? Do you think he just wins?
Listen, it's one of those races. Actually, I wouldn't be putting up a selection in this because Fast or Slow's already beaten him. I know he's obviously going to come up saying I have picked Fast or Slow. Galopin Des Champs, because this time of year, I think he is a better horse, and he's obviously the Gold Cup hero from Cheltenham. He was turned over by Fast or Slow. Don't forget him at Punchestown. Many people have said it wasn't his true running. I think it was his true running. I just think Fast or Slow had improved from Cheltenham and had got better and better. And obviously Punchestown, he was superb. The one thing I would say is I think Fast or Slow needs 3 miles, and any extra distance will be perfect. This is a drop-in trip. Let's not forget, it's half a mile shorter. Punchestown, Galopin Des Champs won this race by 13 lengths last time out. He beat Fakir Dudaris, whose trip is perfect. This is 2.5 miles. He was a seasoned pro at this trip. Blue Lord is in there at 8-1. So Galopin Des Champs is the one for me. I wouldn't ever go diving into that price at 2-1 on. Given his record on heavy as well, is pretty gash. What I would say a big price, and I have wrote this in the newsletter that's to come out on Thursday, is if Statler rocked up here, I wouldn't not give him a squeak. I think he could bounce back to some sort of form. He'll be doing his best work later on. He stays for days. At 20-1, I think is a wild price. Even though you probably won't win, you'd probably get the each way extra places. Yeah, 20-1 is a big price, but no selection for me in this. I'd like to see Galopin Des Champs win, obviously, but if he doesn't win, Jerry Clom's just going to get shorter and shorter and shorter, isn't he? Because he is the unbeaten lad at the party, and yeah, well, this season anyway.
He's not unbeaten. The real whacker.
But no, do you know what though? If this would blow the Gold Cup picture wide open. If Galopin Des Champs gets turned over here, there'll be horses thinking, well, this horse is beatable. He really is beatable. So there'll be so many people, but it's definitely a watching brief. Hopefully he wins anyway.
Yeah, no selection for me either, unfortunately. Same assessment as you, really. Galopin Des Champs won this last year, and it has obviously form over the course and distance. This distance should be fine for him. You've got to remember he's campaigned over this trip as a novice. And Fast or Slow looks like a horse who's just improved a lot for the trip. So he would probably run a fine race, but I think there's no real value in his price potentially. Maybe there is, but not for an each way angle or anything because he's 92 currently. So yeah, look, no selection from either of us really. But Galopin Des Champs probably the most likely winner. Right, anything else or naps, Harry? Is there anything that's perking your interest across the race we haven't discussed? If not, what is a nap?
Listen, there is the Star Girl Appleway. She's got about 15,000. She got 4 entries. She got 4 entries this weekend. She was supposed to go to Hexham, and obviously Hexham then cancelled their chase meeting, so there was no fences to be jumped. So she's got 4 entries this Saturday. She's also 3 entries Saturday, 1 on Sunday. The first one is in the Graduation Chase. Now, that would be very interesting if she rocked up. Obviously, Grey Dawning is currently in there at 8-11. Gaia de Menil is in there at 9-4. And bar the rest, it looks... I can't see anything getting involved. But if she did rock up at Haydock, I think she'd be very, very tough to beat. She's already got the beat in the Grey Dawning, albeit she did fall in that... he did fall, I should say, in the Sefton, where Appleway won. But she's also got an entry at Utoxeter on Sunday, which is remarkable. So there might be a sick note going into work should Appleway rock up carrying top weight in a novice's handicap chase. But make sure you do stick out. She should be back at the weekend, so fingers crossed. But nothing else for me. My nap, I will go with, it's got to be Shishkin. I know it's short price, 4-5. I'd throw in Stateman as a double. I can't see either of those to beat, so it is a short one. But there, Appleway and Shishkin and Stateman.
Lovely stuff. One horse to flag is Mombeg Park is entered for the 12:48 Punchestown Saturday, the 2 mile, 3.5 a furlong beginner's chase. That's one of my horses to follow for this season. Also in there is an Epic Song, who was second at the festival behind Langer Dan in the Coral Cup. There's Cool Survivor, Daily Present. Who else have we got in there? I Know the Way You're Thinking. There's Gaelic Warrior in there as well. Pinkerton, Shambali Kid. So it's a hot enough race. Obviously, Gaelic Warrior being the one that's the the big sort of standout name from that. But Monbeg Park, I'm a huge fan of him. Like to see how he goes. So that is the 12:48 Punchestown Saturday. Nap, Fear to Glory in the Coral Hurdle. Hopefully she's got a fantastic chance at 3-1. Lovely stuff. We are finished for our video previewing the weekend ahead. Betfair Chase and 1965 Chase was John Durkan, Morgiana, all of them races. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. The support on the last few videos has been fantastic. So thank you very much for that. Let's keep that up. If you've got a big fancy for the weekend, drop it down in the comments below and I'll tell you why you are wrong or right. I'm joking. Everyone has different opinions on the races. Just make sure to like, subscribe. Make sure to tune in 10:30 a.m. on Saturday for our Saturday show. That'll be for our final fancies. We have all the information available to us, all the up-to-date prices, weather information, all of that. Saturday 10:30 a.m. and our Sunday show as well, 7 p.m. We are joined by the Jump Show. I want to say Tom Bull, Dan Overall, and Jake Price at 7 till 8 on Sunday. Make sure to tune in for that one as well. Do follow us on Twitter. Here are our Twitters on screen as well. Go follow Lee at Racing Lee 1 and Only Fools Have Horses Racing. And we'll be back very, very soon. If you're having a bet, please do gamble responsibly. But we'll see you for the next video.